Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you like the channel, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. It all helps make the channel grow. So anyway, here we go guys. This is another new Longines. They just keep bringing out new watches at the moment. This one is their brand new Conquest Chrono. Now, when you think the Conquest line has been coming out, I think next year it will be 70 years of this model. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 70th anniversary model come out next year. I dare say they will. But it's a line which has been going really well for Longines. I reviewed one about a month ago. I really did like. This is their new Chrono. Now, to be fair, it's a little bit more conservative, I would say, than some of the other chronos I've reviewed from Longines. To their detriment, quite possibly, who knows, only you guys can decide that. But before I get too far into a review, I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis & Gay of Coventry for allowing me to review this watch. Honestly, every time I go in, there is so much stock. If you're in the Midlands area, you know, it's well worth popping in. If you're a bit further afield, I'll leave a link in the description below. So anyway, just look at it. It's yes, it's definitely a bit more subdued than some of the others, I think anyway. Let's talk sizes first. It's a 42mm case, but the actual bezel is 42.5, so the bezel's a little bit tight, yeah, a little bit thicker. You can see it overhangs a little bit there. And the thickness, now they state it's 14.3, but realistically when I measured it with my calipers, it's 14.5mm. I know everyone always complains that all chronographs are around about 15mm, but an automatic chronograph is always going to be a lot chunkier than a normal, the movement is a lot thicker. They start off at around about 8mm and then you have to build around it. So keep that in mind. Now, the lug-to-lug size, the longest point across the watch, is 50mm, and the bracelet size on this is 22mm. Now, the dial. The dial is, I don't know, it's nice, clean and tidy, but I think it somehow lacks the kind of contrast and the kind of wow factor of some of the other models. Now, I've reviewed quite a few chronographs and I've always thought they stand out so well, but this one definitely is a bit more subdued. You do have lots of cool kind of bits to the dial. I love the fact that the chrono you've got is all in red here, as do its the tachometer bit there, so it gives it a little bit of colour. And you've got these little red dots going around there, which don't really, there was no need to add them on there, but it is quite nice. The hands are lovely, just really well polished. They've done a real nice job on them. There is loom on the hands, as to the 12369 on there, but to be fair, there's not a lot, so don't expect it to be a loom monster, this one. The actual subdials have got this nice circular grain into them. So you've got a tighter circular pattern in the centre, and it gets slightly further apart as it comes out to the edge of the subdial. You've also got radial patterning going around this extra bezel there. It does make it look a little bit more interesting. I do like the fact that you've got the nice applied marker going up there at the top. Their wing always does look good, and applied hour markers. So it gives it a definite touch of class, but again, I don't think it stands out as much as some of their other models. Also, I've noticed on this one, the second hand does appear to be a little bit off on reset. I could be slightly wrong, but it does seem to be a tiny bit off there. This deep chapter ring going on in there gives it a lot of depth, but I somehow think it just lacks a bit of excitement there. But it definitely is a more conservative model from them. Now, let's have a quick listen to the chrono clickers here. Very, very subtle. It's just, it's kind of aimed at someone who wants a chronograph but doesn't want it to scream out to people, I think. It's definitely a bit more subdued. So reset. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no, that has set, I would say that's set spot on actually there. So maybe it was just a dodgy reset, but that looks more in the center. So anyway, as we come past all this, I say there is actually a nice texture to that dial. It isn't flat, there is actually a very slight texture on that grey centre bit of the dial there. So it is nicely done, but I think somehow it's overshadowed by some of their other chronographs. Now, as we come past that, the sapphire crystal is flat, does stand slightly proud, got a lovely beveled edge on there. It has got AR on both sides. I know not everyone's a fan of that, but I personally like it. The bezel insert looks to be ceramic. It's a tachometer. Now, to be fair, I'd love to know if any of you guys have ever actually used a tachometer, because I never have. But you know, it is what it is, but it does kind of always make the bezel look a bit more interesting. Obviously, this is a fixed bezel, so we can see the edge. You do have this kind of machine that does dive down into the actual watch body there. Now, as for the case of the watch, it's got a nice bit of polishing on the side. It is a kind of rounded polish, but it does look quite nice, very well finished. Same on this side, we have the pushers, covered in my fingerprints, you can tell because it is polished, and the crown is actually signed. Let's just check. Yep, it's a screw-down crown, so it does have a nice clip there. The watch is water resistant, but only to 100 meters, so it's all right for you know, splashes and no problem like that at all. In fact, you probably died with it, to be fair, but I probably wouldn't be, and it's a chrono. The end links do match nicely with the body of a watch. You'd have like a straight line brushing on top there, but they are nice and solid in there. The watch does feel like it's got a good heft to it. I can't fault it there. It really does feel like it's got a nice heft. When we turn this around, we have got a nice display case back there. I love the kind of finish they've done on the movement. The back looks really nice with a screw down display case back on there. And what's nice on this watch is, well, first of all, I put it on the time grapher, and I was reading around about 3.5 seconds. So that's, you know, no problem at all. That puts it within chronometer specs. I've got no problem with that. The movement is also just a little bit more interesting, because normally most Longines, they slow the beat rate down a little bit to get that bit more power out of it, and so they lose the 8 beats per second, but this one has actually got 8 beats per second, so it is a little bit more smoother. The actual movement has got 37 joules. It's well decorated. It says it's quite unusual because they say the power is up to 59 hours. Now, realistically, the base movement it's based on, which is an ETA A31, that says, I think it's 54 hours. So expect to get a reliable 55 hours or so out of this with no problem at all. So one other thing, actually, I should point out about this chrono is it doesn't have a jumping second hand on the chrono minute counter there. So as you can see, normally you would expect to see this jump, but this one is the type which slowly goes round. No problem with that at all, but you know, do be aware that if you try one and you go, why is it not jumping? This is the type which glides round. So be aware of that. The other nice feature with this movement, it has a silicone hairspring. Now, I know a few people, you know, what's that actually mean? But what it means is it's a lot less kind of sensitive to magnetic fields. Now, sometimes I've seen people who've said, oh, my watch is running, you know, like 40 seconds fast or whatever. And that's normally down to magnetism on the hairspring, because the hairspring will clench in on itself and make it go faster. Where this has got a silicone hairspring, balance spring, and that way you shouldn't be affected with that in any way, shape or form. So the bracelet, it's okay, it's quite nice. Maybe tapers a little bit, quite a bit for the head of a watch, quite possibly. And the actual fold over clasp is a butterfly style. As you can see, presses in, boom, like that. We do have the sign logo. There is no micro adjustment, but you do have these half links. Now, to be fair, they are quite small as to the other links, so I think you'll get a spot on fit on that, no problem at all. Let me put it on my wrist, you'll see how it looks. Just a quick one. I'm wearing my Oris 65 diver, which I serviced the other day, and it's running spot on, which is always a bonus. And Bob, he's outdone himself. He's wearing possibly my favourite Tudor watch, the Elegance. That's been lent in by subscriber Niall. If you'd like to see your watch on here, you know, get in touch. My email is in the description, or leave me a comment. Beautiful watch. I really, really like that one. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. So let's try this on, see how it fits. Just quickly do that. I've still got the stickers on the back here, so it's a little bit, but that's how it actually looks on my 7¼ inch wrist. So yeah, yeah, it's a nice classy watch. Maybe not for me. I would go, if I was going to go for a Longines Chrono, I would go for some of their more Fandango ones personally, but it is a very nice watch nonetheless. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll always try and get back to you. So stay safe out there. All the best. Bye.